What's up, guys? In today's video, I'm going to be coaching one of my students going over essential drills to master ball control, card control, and speed flipping. All training packs will be in the description. Feel free to join my RL University, and let's get into it.
A couple of things that I see players struggle with is movement drills. So one of the first things that I do when I get on is I set my boost to standard, and I'll practice just pad pickup around the field. So speed flips are a very large part of the game nowadays. So my suggestion is at the level that you're at, speed flipping might be a little bit complicated, but we can definitely get in there and understand it. But I like to practice speed flipping around the field so that I can start getting my hands warmed up on my controller, okay? Because I see a lot of players, what they do is they'll start, accidentally flipping like this, or they'll go and they'll, miss their flip cancel, or their flip cancel too fast, and then it kind of gets all messy from there, okay? Obviously, as a player, as myself, that has 10,000 plus hours, it's not that difficult for me to do this perfectly. So just doing something like this is good exercise to practice your speed flips, making sure that you're getting that full boost. You should be able to pull off 2 to 3 speed flips on each side. So like long ways like this, I can get in 1, 2, technically 3. But anyways, yeah, so I do that for just a couple minutes. The next thing that I practice is my small pad pickup. So I'll move through and just kind of practice my tracing here. I like to turn the ball cam on and off as well. I want you to be doing that and kind of practicing the toggling effect. I think that's pretty beneficial for players that are, looking at the 50 or looking at the pads, but also looking at where the ball is getting, if it's a 50, if it's a boom. Because obviously you wouldn't want to rotate like this and then the ball ends up overhead and now it's in your goal, right? Better example of that would look kind of like this. You see the ball and then you turn your ball cam on and you're like, oh, it's in my net, right? So we kind of want to pay attention to that toggling effect so that, if we do see that ball coming in, oh, then we can get a save on it last second. So the next thing that I do is I practice my wave dashes on and off the walls. This is used and this is beneficial for saving boost and picking up speed, okay? So wave dashing is not too difficult. Are you aware of what wave dash is?
Yeah.
Good. Okay. So on the ground, it's a little bit different than on the walls. On the ground, you're going to pick a set of 2 wheels, whether that's the back 2 and dodge forward, whether that's the front 2 and dodge backwards, whether that's the left 2, right 2, whatever you choose to do. Okay. On the walls, it's a little bit different. You actually kind of want to pre-jump the wall in a sense, okay? So what that means is you want to go up at kind of an angle. So if you're going up at an angle like this, it's going to be using air roll left. So I'm going to use a touch of air roll left, and then I'm going to use my flip before my wheels actually touch the wall. A lot of players, I see them, they'll do something like this off the wall, and it's awkward, right? You don't really want to, have a stiff car movement. You want to try to get little cuts of air roll in there as well. Just getting comfortable with that, and then obviously speed flipping off of a wave dash like that as well can give you a lot of momentum into the ball. So, yeah. The next thing that I practice is I practice my power slide cuts. So basically what that is, the exercise I like to do, is I will put the ball on the edge of my screen, to the edge of my screen, to the edge of my screen. And what that does is that gives me an option to practice how much I'm power sliding, okay? So I'm trying to basically just get that ball on the edge, on the edge, on the edge, and go from there. You don't want to just do circles when you're power sliding. You want to be able to control how much you're doing from side to side to side and pulling that joystick so that you can start getting comfortable with that stuff, okay? Moving forward, the next packs that I like to practice are kind of turned around specific touches. Some of the ones that I know a little bit more difficult for you. So I came up with wall clears. This is a good pack to practice your wall touches and your wall clears. Another very common thing I see with lower levels is issues with wall touches. So this is a good pack to practice that and just kind of work on your timing, okay? So there is kind of 4 ways to approach this. You have your first touch, which is going to be your catch touch. You want to make sure you're catching it with the front and the top of your car on the wall, because if you catch it with the middle or the bottom, the ball is going to come off the wall, right? And you don't want it to go that direction. It's the first way to approach it. The second way is going to be a single jump, and it's going to hit the wall, and then you're going to single jump. It's called a pop touch. So again, you're letting the ball hit the wall, and you're underneath it, and then right as it hits the wall, you jump. Your third option is going to be a flip off the wall. That's going to be your most powerful touch. And what you're going to do there again is you're going to wait for the ball to hit the wall and then flip. If you do it before the ball hits the wall, you're going to hit it up instead of out. So there's a little bit of timing practice there. The next one that I do is backwards saves. So what this is used for is practicing soft touches into the corners, okay? So I want you to be flying kind of in that upside down motion and getting a little bit of that air roll practice so that you can start hitting it with the undercarriage of the front of your car, okay? Obviously that would not be a good touch. You want to approach it like this. And what that does is that leaves the ball here, okay? And if the ball's in the corner, that's pretty much the safest spot on the field for you, technically speaking, okay? Because they can't really play anything off that. They can't really shoot. So practicing the nice little soft touches in the corner on these balls is what you really want to focus on. The next thing that I want to talk about is kickoffs. So do you have any idea how to speed flip?
Yeah, I have learned it with. You have to make that cancel flip and then use arrow.
Yes, so there's a couple, technically two different ways to do it. Majority of players use directional arrow left or directional arrow right during your flip cancel. But ideally what you're focusing on is an opposite direction flip cancel. So like if you're doing a half flip, it's going from down to up, right? But you're doing it in a quick motion, which is creating that flip cancel. If you do that slowly, you'll see it doesn't really cancel your car as good as that would, right? So that's the first step, is you want to make sure that your joystick movement is actually quick enough to get a cancellation. Okay, I see a lot of players when they're doing speed flips, they'll do something like this, and then their car ends up sideways because they're only half canceling, right? The next thing is when you're canceling, you can use directional air roll or free air roll, okay? With that being said, when you go around the field and you practice speed flips, it's a lot easier because you're obviously already moving, okay? So it's a lot easier for you to be able to get that speed flip quickly. Now, when you're doing it off of a kickoff, the main thing to look for is where and when you're doing it. So, when you're in a position in this specific spot, the corners, in my opinion, are the hardest ones to do, okay? And the reason is because it's the shortest amount of distance that you get to drive before you actually need to flip, okay? So it's a little bit confusing, but ideally, right, if you're starting your speed flip here, when you're doing this, it's going to be way too late, okay? So you want to make sure that you're starting your speed flip as soon as your car is going through the boost, okay? You want it to be the latest about right here, because if you're doing that too late like this, you're landing into the ball, right? If you land into the ball, somebody's going to dunk you off the kickoff, okay? So you need to make sure that you have enough time to land here, single jump, and 50 the center of the ball, okay? So you're ideally looking more like this rather than the last one I just did, which I landed into the ball. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So you can tell, right? I fully land and then I'm able to single jump and 50. Now, on the straight kickoffs, you have the dead center, then you also have the two offside centers, okay? Pro players, I see what they do is they just will directly flip to the right and go here. There's two different options you could do. I don't mind doing a speed flip right away, so you're driving and then you're flipping through the boost. That's your first kind of option. I personally usually like to drive into the boost and then I will flip across the opposite direction. So if I'm driving right, I'm speed flipping left. That's mainly what I like to do, but again, it kind of just depends on whatever your preference is, okay? In my opinion, making sure that you get that boost and not starting your flip too late is definitely a crucial part of this. That's probably also why I like to drive through the first boost, just to be safe and not be a goofball, I guess is a way to put that. That's kind of what a speed flip kickoff is. Obviously, what you want to be focused around, kickoff timing, is your flip, okay? So if you look at my joystick here, when I'm doing a speed flip, I like to start at the top left because I like to drive slightly left, and I kind of aim the nose of my car for the edge of the orange corner here, okay? That's kind of what I'm aiming for. So it's like little touch left, little touch left, little touch left. Just start practicing this. Next thing you're going to do is you're going to push your joystick around. So you're going to go, you can either go directly across with air roll, or you can use free air roll and go around your joystick. So if you see what I'm doing that, I'm double jumping right here, which is leading me to that perfect directional right flip, okay? Because I want to put myself in that directional right so that I can land appropriately. Obviously, if you're doing this too late and you use too far to the right, your joystick and your car are going to be going super far to the right of the ball. Now, if you do this too early, and you jump upfield, or jump up in this case, you're going to be putting yourself in a position where you're too far on the left side of the ball, and then your speed flip's not going to work because, again, it's a front flip, it's not a directional flip, right? You need to have a directional flip for a speed flip. Those two things have to go together. So let's go ahead and attempt some speed flip arenas here. So keep in mind too, right, obviously you can speed flip either direction, but it is going to be easier for you to speed flip right when you're on the left side and left when you're on the right side because you get to the center of the ball. But your choice, obviously you speed flip whatever direction you'd like. Okay, so a couple things to look at when you're doing this, okay? Number one is, are you hitting supersonic by the end of the kickoff? Okay, that's a good sign. And number two is, do you have enough time to land and completely hit the ball again, or are you landing into the ball, okay? Like we talked about, if you're landing into the ball, that means you're starting your flip too late, okay? But you should be able to hit supersonic by the time that you land, right? You shouldn't have to land, hit supersonic, then hit the ball. You should already be in supersonic by the time you're landing for you hitting the ball, okay? Another good way to look at this is the way that your car spins, okay? If it spins in like a sideways motion, you're doing a barrel roll. If it spins forward motion, forward sideways, you're doing more of a speed flip, like that. And again, make sure you're getting those flips in there quickly, because you're not giving yourself enough time to land before you're single jumping again. Because technically you're speed flipping to the ball, but you're single jumping and 50ing the ball after that. So you're not really speed flipping for the actual kickoff, you're speed flipping for the speed to get to the kickoff.
If you're interested in one-on-one coaching with me, consider checking out my Medify. Link is in the description. Alright guys, that's what I suggest for a daily warm-up routine to get prepared for your games. I hope you all enjoyed the video, and be sure to join my coaching university to get playing and competing with over 700 members in my community. I'll see you guys all in the next one. Peace!